Hi, and welcome to Misty and Me. I'm just about to sort my tea, and it got me thinking. If I was to ask you, what are the most dangerous knives in a kitchen? I'm guessing that you would possibly say the chopping knife, long carving knife, maybe a filleting knife. But to be fair, you might even say a sharp knife. But you'd be surprised to know you actually could be wrong on them all. Because the two most dangerous knives in a kitchen, first of all, is the wrong knife, and secondly is a blunt knife. By a wrong knife, so many times I've seen young chefs picking up a small paring knife, which is a very short vegetable type knife, with the intentions of chopping onions, for argument's sake. A chopping knife is what you chop with. A sturdy, solid, heavy knife. The reason for that is, it's got the weight. You're controlling the weight of a decent knife. If you're trying to do a robust job with a very small knife, then you run that risk of exerting too much pressure because that knife is not up to the job, and that is when you slip and slide and accidents happen. So the wrong knife is a dangerous knife. Secondly, a blunt knife is also a dangerous knife, for the obvious reason. No matter, even if you have got a chopping knife to do a chopping knife job, if it's blunt, again you are going to try so hard to make that knife do what it's designed to do that you're going to put excessive pressure on, and again this is where accidents happen, and I've seen it in the kitchens many times. Again, young chefs don't know how to sharpen a knife, they get it wrong, they do all the fanciness that you see in butchers' shops, etc., and Grandad at Christmas when he's about to carve the Christmas turkey, and what they're actually left with is a knife that was no sharper afterwards than it was before. So I'm just going to show you quickly how I sharpen and how you'll have seen other people. So I hope you'll pick up a few tips from this. Right, no doubt on Christmas Day, either Father or Uncle Sid or Grandad is given the responsibility of carving the turkey, and he'll have got his trusty steel and his blade, and you'll get a bit of this business, and everybody's cheering because he's doing such a good job. And then you may as well use an axe because it's actually doing nothing. It's the same as when you see all this business, it's doing nothing. But I'll show you another technique that people use that at worst is okay, you know, and at best it's terrible. Let me show you. Now again, I've seen many a young chef come from catering college, has spent a fortune on a decent set of knives and then ruins them by sharpening them in a way that really isn't very beneficial. And you'll have seen it where they stab the iron, the sharpening iron, into a board, especially when you've got the old wooden blocks, the point on the end, they stab it in, and then they give it all this business here, and they spend half an hour and they break into a sweat, and then they go to feel the knife and you may as well use the back because it's no sharper than when they started. It's just, it looks fancy, and to be honest with you, it's a bit pointless. So I'm now going to show you, this is the way I was trained by chefs to sharpen your knife. Okay, now I'm going to trust that you're going to get this in focus. So a decent quality steel, a decent quality knife. Get the knife tight in your grip. Put your thumb on the leading face edge of the blade. Your steel, likewise, firm grip. Now what you're going to do, you're going to manoeuvre the knife with this nice, firm, hard grip. None of this fancy business, good firm grip and steel. And basically what you're going to do, you're going to cross the two. And your arms will both move out at the same time. But what you're doing with your left hand, if you've got your steel in your left hand, is pulling upwards. What you're doing with your right hand is pushing down or pushing up, depending on which side of the blade you're actually about to sharpen. But what you're doing, you're exerting the pressure on the downward stroke with your thumb, and then you're flicking the knife on the upward stroke with the underside of your hand. So I'm pushing down on the steel and I'm pushing up with the knife. So I'm taking my thumb out of the way, and then when I come to do it the other way, I'm now pulling up on the steel and I'm pushing down with my thumb at a 45-degree angle that way. So it's that way. So it's upwards and it's downwards and it's upwards and it's downwards and it's upwards and it's downwards. And what you're doing, you're sharpening the whole length of that blade, but you've got complete control, and you can actually feel, when you've been doing this a few times, you can actually feel the blade polishing into a nice sharp edge. So in its simplest form, thumb on the leading face edge, pushing down, so you're pushing the blade onto the steel, and with your left hand you're pushing the steel upwards. So you're giving it some, you don't want it to be floppy, so you're giving it some resilience. So you're pushing, and now you're pushing down on the steel, but you're pulling up on the knife on the strike, and you're pushing down and you're pushing up and you're pushing down, pushing up, and that gets you a really super sharp knife with only a matter of a few strokes. And it's as simple as that. So you can forget all your and Grandad at Christmas, because all he's doing is literally just laying the blade on top of the steel and doing very little. Hope you found that of interest. Give it a go. Don't try and rush it. Few steady strokes and test it. Get a tomato out the fridge, test your knife first on that tomato, and then a few gentle, hard ups and downs. Gentle by that I mean not racing, but put some effort into pressure on the blade and draw it along the length of your steel, and you're just pulling your hands apart, and you'll end up with a set of proper sharp chef's knives. Thank you for watching. Hope you've learnt something. Bye.